Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. Back, sorry. Or welcome. Maybe you're new here. Welcome if you are. It's Saturday morning. It's 9 a.m. It is the most beautiful sunny weather in the UK at the moment. It's been like 30 degrees all week, which is really nice in some ways, but also quite hard work with horses. Means a lot of early mornings and longer days, and because I then just start earlier, I just do more. So it does mean that I'm tired and it's Saturday morning. But we also had a very busy week here at the yard. We had tree surgeons here this week, not to do with me, they were to do with my landlord. And so it just meant there was just a lot of disruption on the yard this week. And so I thought I would take my Saturday morning, I don't have any clients this morning, I'm taking my Saturday morning to do some work with my 3 mares. My 4th mare that could be in work is still she's just resting in the field. I had to make a bit of a business decision with that because when Belle was gifted to me, little Belle, here she is in a stable and I can't turn her out in the field with other horses at the moment because she's not very regulated yet in her nervous system. And so she is taking up my stable and I have to make the business decision of actually making money, basically. And that's tough because I'd like to have all of my own horses in work. But it's what I've had to do. So Dee Dee is resting, but I am here on my Saturday morning with my own horses, and I thought I'd take you along for what I'm doing with each of them at the moment. I'm about to have my very first Liberty session with Belle. I think I have done a little bit with her when she first arrived, but not very much. So I've got my belt, I've got my bum bag full of snacks, which she's very interested in, and I think she's a very, very food-driven horse. So it's interesting, so I'm going to do some positive reinforcement with her, but also some work at Liberty with her where I ask her to be with me and to choose to be with me. So as you can see, I have released her. She's normally a very, very anxious horse down in the arena and doesn't really want to be down here on her own, but it's lovely and quiet here today. It's very, very peaceful. It's very calm. So I'm hopeful that this will be a good day for doing something like this. So the idea of working with your horse at Liberty is that they have that choice. They are able to be with you if they choose to be, or not if they don't want to be. And I think that's a really important thing to do. I'm not by any means the master of this, and I'm very much still learning all about what it means for the human being involved, because a lot of working with horses at Liberty and working with horses in the groundwork and in a kind of more holistic way is a lot about the human. It's a lot about how we feel, and so it's important that I am honest that I am not fully healed, I suppose, in my own self, and I don't think I ever will be. I don't think anyone ever really is, and if they think they are, they're probably not on the right journey. But let's go for a little walk. When it comes to self-healing, it is a perpetual journey, and it is something that you never fully finish because there's endless exploration into what it means to be a human being. But for me and my own horses, I suffer a lot with anxiety, and I've spoken about this a number of times before. I have panic attacks, and they're very out of control at the moment, in the sense of if I start feeling panicky, I really can't seem to stop myself. I can't seem to bring myself back from it. And that's obviously very hard, but I just see that as I am not very regulated. My nervous system is not regulated, and I'm working on it, and I'm going on a yoga retreat and doing lots of work on myself. But it means that when I come to work with my horses, I have to have that, change that expectation. Because if I'm going through things, they are going to feel what I am going through. They are going to hear my heart rate. They're going to feel my nervous system change. And for a horse like Belle, who actually is a bit dysregulated herself, I didn't tell you very much about Belle from the last video, but she came here because she had very bad separation anxiety, and she had really struggled previously with loading and being calm and quiet and all of those things. And she's very food oriented, aren't you, madam? Can't be having you just scruffling about in my pockets. That's not going to go very well. So we've spent a lot of time helping her settle and calm and slow and do all of the things that she needs to do. She's quite like a frantic energy some of the time. So as you can see now, she wants the food, so she's kind of like, oh, busy, you know, wanting to do something. So it's on me to make sure I don't join her in that energy. And I did actually feel myself starting to feel that. So that is one thing that I will be doing today, is to be slowing my energy down. And it's interesting working with a horse like her who is so food oriented. When we hack, for example, all she wants to do is eat the hedge. Like, that's it. That's all she wants. She'll walk with us quietly and carefully, but she wants to be constantly foraging. And at the moment, I'm letting her do that. I'm not stopping her. I just let her have buckle end, and I just let her eat whatever it is that she feels like she needs to eat. Because I kind of feel like there must be something in her that feels like that is serving a purpose for her. So she's not a starved horse, obviously. She gets a big feed and she has permanent hay and she gets good turnout and all of those things. So for me, when a horse is frantic like that about wanting to eat, and a bit like this, you know, she's really wanting to be in my bum bag. She can smell that I've got Herbie treats in here. There's a reason for that. There's a calling for that. So I don't tell her off. I don't necessarily give her what she wants and feed her a treat every time she comes to me and asks for it, but I'm aware of it. And that's a big first step, right? Being aware of what the horses have going on, why they're doing what they're doing. I don't necessarily have the answer as to why right this second, but I know that this is obviously important to her. Now, it's nice that she's quite calm down here and wanting to spend time with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my Pivo now. So it's like a robot tracker. So it'll track the horse. And I'm going to get my little flag, and I'm going to see if we can do some target training where she comes to me, touches the thing I want her to touch, and then she receives her reward. And then we can see if we can start doing some work together in the arena. I've done some of this with Blondie before. You might have seen me doing it. If you are on my online training platform, then you will have seen me do it. But yeah, right. Here are some clips from our training session. Good. So this is my target. Good. Every time she goes to touch it, I reward. So I say a word, and then she gets her reward. And what I need to be mindful of in this moment is that she's never reaching to the pouch for the food, that I always take the food away. So here she has to make a choice. Does my hand give the reward? Good. Or does that give the reward? And no doubt she will start to learn quite quickly what gives the reward. Good. And I'm actually just so impressed with how she is down in the arena. She's certainly keen to be with me anyway. Good. Well done, little squish. This isn't very good, is it? I've got a little shadow. Interesting how they're all so different. You do this with Blondie and she runs around like a wild thing. Good. She's getting better. That's quite interesting. Instead of walking, asking her to come to me, I actually walk at her. Good. Then she takes her energy to the target much more easily. So I want this horse to be more independent. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And I'm not going to do loads more of this actually, because it's quite a lot for her to actually come down here. Good. And this is much more consistent. It's so interesting working with all these different horses. I was just doing some explaining about Belle, but my phone... Anyway, I had an issue with the recording technology. But, you know, she's such a different horse to Blondie. But working with her in a similar way, you see different things. So, like with her, she's very kind of extroverted, but in a different way. Blondie's quite explosive, whereas Belle's quite quiet and then frantic. You know, she finds it very hard to just be in herself yet. She's been here since October, but it's interesting because the first portion of the time I had with her was funded by her owner. And so I was kind of going through maybe a bit of a process for a conclusion of a, you know, happier ridden horse. And so I started with the groundwork, and that was very good. And then in that time that she has been here, I have learned a lot more about kind of the bit before the groundwork, the connection. And so now here I am, having the opportunity to go back even further through this horse's body and nervous system. And it's just very interesting. You know, I just had a moment before, and I might be able to clip it in, where she just was with me, walking with me, not walking with me, you know. And it's that which I want to get. I want to get the slow. We want to slow everything down and not be grabbing food out of my pocket, please, young lady. That is monkey behaviour. So I'm going to go head back up, and we're going to go and do something with Zora now, who I will talk to you about her progress, because it's quite interesting, because it's been very slow for various reasons, and I will explain that when I'm with Zora. Right, I need to go and put this mare's halter back on. So in these moments when me and Belle are just moving around together, I just try and be very slow in myself. I think about my breath, I think about how I feel, and I think if I settle myself and work on myself, as I was saying before, maybe I can help her. Because although she's very, like, with me in the arena, she's not really very with me in her whole body. You know, she kind of comes to me, goes away, softens down, comes to me, goes away. She really needs a bit of this, you know. She doesn't have that kind of feeling in her body yet, which I would say Blondie, for example, now really has.